The house still felt alive, even though Mom was gone. Every morning, when I walked into the kitchen, the sunlight hit the old wooden table exactly the way it always had, warming the same spot where she used to sit with her tea. The walls carried memories, her laughter echoing faintly in the hallway, the soft hum of her prayers before bed. I told myself houses didn't remember people, but this one did. It remembered her too well. After Mom passed away, everything felt fragile. The silence was heavier than grief, pressing down on me with every step I took inside that house. My sister, Alina, came around only a few times back then. She cried loudly at the funeral, clutched my arm, and promised, "We'll take care of everything together." I believed her. She was my sister, why wouldn't I? The mortgage was still active. $4,200 a month. A huge amount, but the house was Mom's final wish. She wanted it kept safe. She wanted family inside its walls. Alina said she would handle the paperwork when things settled down. I didn't ask questions, I just paid, month after month, year after year. I transferred the money quietly, labeling each payment mortgage Mom's house. I fixed the broken heater when winter came. I paid for roof repairs during the rainy season. When the pipes burst one night, I stayed up until morning, soaked and shaking, because I couldn't let the house suffer. It felt like letting Mom down. Alina lived comfortably elsewhere. She posted pictures of vacations, new cars, expensive dinners. She rarely asked how I was doing, but sometimes she sent a quick text, "Thanks for taking care of the house." That was enough to keep me going. 3 years passed like this. One evening, Alina arrived unannounced. Her heels clicked against the floor, sharp and unfamiliar, like she didn't belong here anymore. She walked through the living room slowly, inspecting everything, a small smile playing on her lips. "Funny how some things never change," she said. I smiled, relieved. "Yeah, it still feels like Mom's here sometimes." She turned to me then, her expression calm, too calm. "You know," she said casually, "Mom's house is mine." I laughed, waiting for the joke to land. It never did. The air shifted, the warmth disappeared. And in that moment, standing in the home I had protected with every dollar and every sacrifice, I felt something crack, quietly, deeply inside my chest. For a moment, I thought I had misheard her. "Yours?" I asked, forcing a small laugh. "What do you mean, yours?" Alina leaned against the door frame like she owned the space, because, apparently, she believed she did. She pulled out her phone and tapped the screen a few times, her expression calm, almost bored. "Mom signed the house over to me," she said. "It was done before she got really sick. The paperwork was finalized last year." My heartbeat grew loud in my ears. "Then what have I been paying for?" I whispered, "The mortgage, every month, $4,200. She shrugged, the movement casual and careless. "You live here, you use the house. I thought you understood." Understood what? That 3 years of my life were nothing more than a convenience to her. I tried to steady myself. "You thanked me for paying the mortgage. You said we were taking care of it together." Alina sighed as if I were being difficult. "I was being polite. You never asked for details." That was when the truth sank in not as a wave, but as a slow, crushing weight. I hadn't been helping family. I had been funding someone else's future. My voice trembled. "You let me believe this house was ours." She crossed her arms. "Legally, it's mine, and I'm thinking of selling it." The word selling echoed through the room like a gunshot. "You can't," I said, panic rising. "This is my home. This is Mom's home." Alina's expression hardened. Homes are assets, and assets move on. I felt small, like a child being scolded in her own bedroom. The room suddenly felt unfamiliar, stripped of warmth, as if the walls themselves had turned away from me. "I need time," I said quietly. "You have 60 days, she replied. "That's generous." When she left, the house fell silent again, but it was a different kind of silence. This one felt hollow. I sank onto the couch, staring at the space where Mom's photo hung, my chest tight with disbelief and shame. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay on the floor of my childhood room, staring at the ceiling, counting cracks, replaying every conversation I'd ever had with my sister. Every thank you, every smile. I finally understood something painful. Love had made me blind, and blindness had cost me everything. But as the tears dried, something else took its place, not anger, resolve. I didn't confront her again. That surprised even me. Every part of my heart wanted to scream, to demand answers, to beg her to explain how she could do this to me. But something inside me had shifted. Crying wouldn't change the truth, and arguing wouldn't give me back 3 years of my life. So I chose silence. I started with the numbers. One night, I opened my laptop and went through every bank transfer I had ever made. 36 payments, each one labeled clearly, intentionally, mortgage mom's house. The total made my stomach tighten, over $150,000. Money I had earned, saved, and sacrificed. The next day, I went to the bank. The clerk printed statements, stamped and signed. Then I went to a lawyer. I expected pity. Instead, I got something better clarity. You were paying the mortgage on a house you believed you had an interest in, he said, tapping the documents. That matters. I told him everything, the promises, the silence, the way my sister thanked me month after month. He listened carefully, then leaned back in his chair. This isn't generosity, he said. This is reliance, and reliance has weight in court. For the first time since Elena spoke those words, I felt something loosen in my chest. I didn't tell her what I was doing. I continued packing slowly, pretending to accept defeat. When she messaged me reminders about moving out, I replied politely. Short, calm, let her believe she had already won. But behind the quiet, I gathered proof, text messages, emails, photos of repairs I paid for, receipts for property taxes and maintenance. Every small thing added up to something undeniable. At night, when the house was still, I sat alone at the kitchen table, the same one Mom used to rest her hands on, and allowed myself to feel everything I had been avoiding. The grief, the betrayal, the humiliation, I let it pass through me instead of breaking me. Something unexpected happened in that stillness. I stopped blaming myself. Kindness didn't make me foolish. Trust didn't make me weak. It only revealed who I was, and who my sister wasn't. By the time the legal notice was ready, I felt steady, not excited, not vengeful, just sure. When the lawyer slid the papers across the desk for my signature, my hand didn't shake. For the first time in 3 years, I wasn't paying to protect a memory. I was fighting to protect myself. The call came on a Tuesday morning. Elena's name flashed across my phone, followed by 3 missed calls, then 4. I didn't answer at first. I stood by the window, watching the sunlight spill across the front yard, the same way it had every morning of my childhood. The house felt calm, like it was holding its breath. When I finally picked up, she was already shouting. "Why did I get legal papers?" she demanded. "What is this supposed to mean?" I kept my voice steady. "It means I stopped staying quiet." She accused me of betrayal, of turning family into enemies. I listened without interrupting. "Funny how people who benefit from your silence always call you cruel when you find your voice." Court wasn't dramatic. There were no raised voices, no emotional speeches, just documents, timelines, and truth. The judge examined every payment I made, every message where Elena thanked me for covering the mortgage. Her lawyer tried to argue that I was simply helping my sister, but help doesn't come with deception. The ruling was clear. Elena had benefited unfairly from my payments. She was ordered to repay the money, or for ownership equal to the value I had invested. She chose ownership. Pride couldn't survive debt. The day the paperwork was finalized, Elena didn't look at me. She signed where she was told and left without a word. That was the last time we spoke. The house changed after that, slowly. I repainted the walls. I fixed the garden. I replaced broken things without resentment attached to them. Every improvement felt lighter, like healing instead of obligation. One evening, I sat on the front steps with a cup of tea, listening to the quiet. I realized something important then. Revenge hadn't tasted bitter. It hadn't tasted sweet either. It tasted peaceful. I didn't take more than I was owed. I didn't humiliate her or celebrate her loss. I simply reclaimed what was taken from me, and that was enough. Sometimes I still think about Mom and wonder what she would say. I imagine her smiling softly, proud not because I fought back, but because I finally learned my worth. The house still carries her presence, but now it also carries mine, and every month when I make the mortgage payment now in my own name, I don't feel pain anymore. I feel free.